right, welcome back to Remake TV. You're watching What's Going On, and we're talking with Keith, one of the co-founding members and the president of Visual Arts Brampton. Now, Keith has brought in some artwork that was born of his art career and of Visual Arts Brampton. So, Keith, let's start off with this first slide. Why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
In the upper left-hand corner, there was a contest with another local group, the Folk Club, and they had put on Folk Fest for years, and they were looking for a CD cover. So the one with all the musical instruments, that's done in colored pencil.
Okay.
And that is the winner. It happened to be mine, but is the winner of a contest that that other group had. There was no big prize. It was the beauty of getting to do it. So I took it a step further for them, again, for free, because they're nonprofit like we are. And I actually used that as the design went on, but I designed their whole CD selection and everything, right down to the image on the CD itself.
Wow.
Down below it, the teddy bear one, that's called Climbing Bear Mountain. And that was, I was just doing it as a project for myself, but the rest of the board said, it originally had some other characters in that were copyrightable. So I took it to that company and they said, well, perhaps you shouldn't exhibit or sell it. So I said to the group, I just discovered that I could edit my colored pencil works. So I changed them over into cowboys and Mexicans. And Mexicans were ones, Whoopi Goldberg was one of the characters, and she had a big hat in the series. So I made that into a sombrero, so I thought I should have a few other sombreros. The one at the right-hand side of that slide is actually one image, and that was for a special thing we were invited to be part of at Shoppers World, where we have our exhibits and everything. And that plus 30-some other pieces of all our artists, including some of our teens, we all had our work hanging in the food court for over a month for people to see, and they voted, and one of the women that was new to our group, she got the third prize. The first two prizes went to some of my teens.
Wow.
So that was an accomplishment itself.
Yeah.
So the next slide shows, again, some work. Those were, previous ones were all colored pencil. These are all colored pencil too. And the big one to the left of the screen was actually for a client. I'm a freelance artist, but I did it fairly big, and then we blew it up for their purpose. So I had the original, which is like 40 inches tall. I gave it to another nonprofit group that takes care of kids with physical challenges, and so they have it in their lobby. To the right of that, at the top, is based out of my head for one of the jury shows the Art Gallery Peel had, and one of our models of many years, I wasn't drawing that night, and she saw it and she said, wow, all this practice, you did all that out of your head, that's amazing. So that's the beauty of our studio. You can keep coming on a regular basis, your shared creative time and everything, so you get to see everybody evolve. In the bottom corner, that is the one called Veggies, and I had that in various jury shows that I've taken part in over the years.
Nice.
And they're all, again, colored pencil. So the next slide.
Now let's just pause for a minute. And you mentioned one of your slides was about art and people with physical disabilities. Do you work in the studio with kind of art as therapy for people?
We've had, it's therapy for everybody, I suppose.
Of course.
you can have a stressful day and unwind.
Yeah.
And I remember one day in particular where I was really stressed. By the end of the evening I thought, what was I stressed about even? So I have had people with challenges of whatever sort come in, and it gives them a chance to be creative and evolve, and it gives we've even had we have a ramp right into our studio, so if people are viewing this and they want to come to the studio but they think it's in a lower level, I can't get to it, they indeed can, because there's an elevator and a ramp from the elevator right down into our studio. So we are equipped to help people that way too. And it's a lot of the people that have a challenge over the years have been a joy to assist them, because they're so eager to be creative and everything too. So the studio is open to anybody 6 and up can come. But I have had, say, a parent bring somebody younger, but they're with their child who's younger. And nobody, the kids that have come have been well behaved and everything, so nobody complained. The works that we do there, people don't have to exhibit with us, but they may, and we encourage them to. So over the years, a lot of my young artists have exhibited with us. We put a special exhibit in from a group that had been there with their people from their organization, and we let them have a whole space to exhibit in. The image that's on the screen now, the one at the top, that was a cross Canada entry. And that's based on a photo I took across the street at Shoppers World. They have an antique car show. And that traveled with I was one of 32 works of art that was on that traveled across Canada with the auto shows. And the bottom left is called the bumper crop, play on words. People who come to the studio eventually know I'm a corny fellow. And then the other one is, again, some more toys. And I was doing the toys in particular because at the Christmas season we always have a family and seasonal and Christmas type exhibit. So the one with all the little potato heads in it, that's called In Daddy's Shoes because the little one is on top of Daddy wearing his dad's shoes.
Aww.
And they were all colored pencils. So the next slide. That top image was, when you mentioned earlier about projects we have,
Right.
we had an alphabet book.
Okay.
So that was for the letter X, for xylophone. Nobody else in the group wanted the letter X, so
Well, that's
the
fair. I
president
wouldn't
stepped
want the
forward.
letter X.
The president stepped forward. The one at the bottom, with all the drawing and painting utensils and everything, next to a truck, that's delivering the goods, and that's some of the mediums that I use. So again, I do the drawing end mainly, and Jacqueline does the painting end of the stuff. And everybody seems to love Jacqueline because she's natural at it and everything. We both really care about our students. That's a portrait of my son next to it when he was younger. So those are all colored pencil. The next slide.
Wow.
The top four are colored pencil. The two at the top were done by me for our family greeting cards, so I would take pictures of them and get them reproduced. The one of the greenhouse is the greenhouse out in the Bramley section of Brampton. The other one's called Two Peas in a Pod, and one of the pods is open, so you can see the two peas. And then the bottom corner is from a scratchboard piece and some of my images.
So tell me about Scratchboard, because that's not a common medium.
As it appears there is green on white because I screen printed it. We have a photo screen capacity. But you take a piece of stock that is a clay coating underneath, black on the surface. So we're accustomed to putting black onto the white, but not doing the reverse. So you have to be a positive individual, but think negatively.
Right.
So you gently scrape the surface, just enough to scrape away the black. So all the darker areas remain the black of the surface initial one. All the white areas are all the little lines that I've made otherwise. So on some of the other slides here, you will see some actual black and white ones, which were.
All right, well, let's pull up the next slide and see what comes up.
These ones do look like they could be, and sometimes people think these are scratchboard, but they're actually liner block prints.
Really?
So you cut into the surface, and where you cut won't receive the ink when you roll it out with a roller.
Okay.
So only the top surface. So when you were a little girl and you were in kindergarten, they said, Mom, you're going to love this in the future. Put your hand in the paint.
Oh, of course.
You look at your hand, your thumb's pointing that way. When you make the image, now the thumb is pointing the other way. And it's the same with that. So the one to the right of the screen, that actually has the name of the service station and the Coca-Cola ad and the ads on the thing. I had to cut those all in reverse so they would print the right way around.
Okay.
And the one at the bottom of the screen is based on a trip we went to out in the east coast of Canada, and that's fife and drum players. So I advanced my knowledge by trying something I thought would work. I used a Dremel, which is a rotary device, to put the little dots in, making white dots within the black so it looks more voluminous and everything. The top one with the cat, two cats with the grandmother, that's from my wife's family album. So the next slide, the bottom of that one, the one with the corn cobs.
Right.
And the little windmill. It's called seasons because you got the different representations of the seasons and everything. And that is a scratchboard. So it was like 26 inches wide, the full sheet of scratchboard. So I had to plan it, draw it, and then scratch in.
Wow.
The upper left-hand corner is a black and white drawing too. That is called Father Time, and the flesh in particular is all little watches. And then the hair and the mustache and the eyebrows and everything were different parts of the month or the week and that sort of stuff, as is the iris is different days of the week and everything. The one with the trilliums, that was in our 24th anniversary show at the CNE. My son said to me, we're doing this flower show every year anyways, why don't we see if the Horticultural Society would like us to be part of it.
So you exhibited at the CNE?
2 years in a row now.
Wow.
So that's our biggest venue we've ever had. And after the first year it was 24 by 24, but they don't make canvas 25 by 25. So for our 25th year on, we will be doing 18 by 24, but all on the floral theme.
Before we close out, is there one piece of advice you'd like to give to young artists out there, whether in the Brampton area or not?
Well, if you can find a place wherever you live that does have instructors who are practicing artists, you're going to grow faster than if you just do it solo. That applies to adults too. We all share in each other's creativity, and it encourages us and everything. So
Now, how can we get in contact with you guys?
VisualArtsBrampton.com is where they can find out about the group. VisualArtsBrampton@gmail.com is where they can email us.
All right.
And our studio phone number is 905-453-9142.
All right, well, for those of you who didn't catch that, it will be on the bottom of your screen, so don't worry about it. So if you're an artist out there looking to get a start or get more practice or simply join in like-minded people, check out Visual Arts Brampton. So thank you very much for being on the show today, Keith. I do wish you the best of luck with the studio for another 26 years.
Okay.
All right, you've been watching Remake TV. This is What's Going On. I'm Jasmine Bowen, and I will see you next time.